get started. I'm super excited about this next interviewee. Her name is Alexis White. We're basically family. She is the sister of my cousin Deshaun Ivy, and he always brags about you. He always brags about you and how you live in DC and you're doing great things. So I was like, okay, I have to get her on this event. So I'm super excited you were able to make it. Let's go ahead and get started.
So my name is Alexis White. I'm based in DC. Right now, I'm a manager at a data technology company. I kind of do a weird quasi of different roles. So for background, I have a statistics background, but I really love survey methodology. I think it's an unknown niche market within statistics, but it's very valuable to a lot of companies. So right now, I basically help Fortune 500 companies use data to make business decisions. All of my insights are in the boardroom, and they're trying to figure out how they can improve their business models. But it's kind of funny how I ended up in this job, because based off of my academic background, my internships, I didn't even know this field existed. So
really,
yeah, it's hilarious. So I feel like most people, when I was 5 years old, I wanted to be a pediatrician. I did an essay about this. My mom and dad were like, on weekends, you write reports about what you want to be when you grow up. So I always try to excel in math and science classes. I really loved math growing up. My dad would have me on weekends doing those 100 arithmetic activities,
wow,
just to make sure I was excelling in math. When I was in high school, I participated in the University of Pennsylvania program, so I could get exposure to the medical and dental sciences. I actually worked at the dental school at the University of Pennsylvania, got to work in a DINSM lab, was oh, this is great. I'm gonna go to school for biology. Maybe I'll become a dentist now. This seems great. But during that program, it was really great because it was predominantly for lower income Black Americans within the city of Philadelphia, because oftentimes there aren't a lot of opportunities. We have one of the worst school districts in the country. So getting involved with that program was just great exposure. I built some of my first mentee-mentor relationships. My first mentor was in that program, and she really helped me get through college. Up until her death, I still reached out to her and was hey, how do I navigate this situation? Did that program, swore I was going to go to UPenn. I invested so much time, got waitlisted, and I was oh, what do I do now? So I ended up at American University. Funny enough, didn't even know the school existed. My dad brought it up once in conversation. I went to visit, and I was you know what? I need to get out of Philly. This is so out of my element. This is perfect for me. So I moved down to DC 2011, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, still thinking I'm going to be pre-med, pre-dental. Took all my pre-med courses, which had a math element to them. Really excelled in them. I took my first statistics course as a freshman. Didn't even know what statistics was. I remember it being an AP option in high school, but I was I'm already taking AP Calc. I don't need another math class. And I had a really great professor. He was Black. He literally was just you sleep through my class, but you have the highest grade here. And I was oh, that's kind of cool. I was maybe I'll try another statistics course. So part of my pre-med electives, I could take biostatistics. So I took that class. Again, not a ton of effort, but I excelled. I actually got nominated for an award because I had the highest grade amongst all the biostatistics students at that point. At that point, I actually met another Black professor within my department, Black PhD, super accomplished, 10-year track at American University, which is unheard of. And I kind of told her, I was hey, this statistics thing seems really cool. It seems like a great compliment for my pre-med track. And she was you should consider majoring in it. At that point, I was what are the job aspects of this? I'm here to make money. I'm not trying to be poor for the rest of my life. And she kind of just opened up my world to what statistics is, how to look at it, how you use it in every space in your life. So I dabbled in a minor in statistics for a while, and I realized, okay, I can make money in this. I don't have to go to school for 10 years. Maybe I'll just change my major to statistics. I remember calling my parents at this point in college, and they're what is a statistics? we're pre-med, pre-dental in this house. Like we had a plan for you.
Wow.
I remember like trying to justify this decision to them. And I was just like, I think it's a great idea. Like I've met a woman, she's like here to like really support me. Like I found a community here. So think about my junior year, I was like, all right, all my pre-med courses will count as electives. Like, let me get through all of these major requirements. I ended up in statistics. It was a very bumpy road. While I was in college, I worked 3 jobs. I was not trying to have student loans, and I had a lot of scholarships, but I was like, I'm not coming out of school with debt. American is probably one of the most expensive schools in this country. And I'm like, I can't fathom going into $100,000 in debt for an undergrad degree. So I worked, I tutored, I like worked in our department. I worked at Starbucks, like not sleeping, like statistics major, public health minor. And when I told my advisor, I was like, hey, I need to start getting work experience like within this field if I'm going to graduate and get a job. But I told her, I was like, I can't do unpaid internships. Like DC is expensive. I have bills to pay. What can you do about this? And she recommended I apply for a bunch of research grants. I won my first research grant doing research with the Georgetown Medical Center. It was a really great experience. It paid me $5,000 over the summer. I was like, oh, this is great. Like I'm using everything that I'm learning in the classroom. I'm getting paid for it. Like I'm working with like seasoned professionals here. And I was just like, okay, statistics is like shaping up here. Like, however, during that point, I'm still working, doing the research, going to school. Then my dad and my grandmom died in school. And it was rough. Like, I was like, I'm already taking like the most credits possible. I'm working a ton, trying to research, trying to intern, and I'm suffering these tragic deaths. And I really had to sit and think about, am I in a good mental state to continue with school right now? And I talked to my professors, and I had one professor pretty much be like, that sucks. I feel bad for you, but either suck it up or drop my classes. And it was eye-opening. Like, it really hurt. But I was like, you know what? I'm not going to let this deter me. Like, you said that to me, I'm going to prove you wrong. Funny enough, it was my survey methodology course, which ended up kind of like getting me introduced into the industry I'm working in. And I powered through. I don't know how. Like, honestly, my family, my friends, my mentors, like really just pushed into me. They're like, you could break down over winter break, but right now, just get through this semester. And I like ended up doing it. Fast forward the next semester, my mom went through a cancer scare. So I'm like, all right, I just need to finish this degree at this point. Like, let me just get out of school. During that time, however, my mentor was like, you're really excelling, you're winning these research grants, you should really consider like getting a master's degree in statistics. And I was like, well, I'm not really sure like what that will entail. Like I see the applicability, but I'm not sure like where I want to take my career. I don't think this is a good time. And she's like, I hear what you're saying, but she's like, if you don't go now, you're never going to go back. So I actually applied for our 5-year program at American University. So you're simultaneously finishing your bachelor's and doing your master's at the same time. Best opportunity of my life, brought on student loans, but honestly, it was worth it just to like be done at 23 with a master's degree. During that time period, again, I started working. I got another research grant, which allowed me to intern for an all-Black consulting firm, which was an amazing opportunity because American's a PWI, not a ton of Black figures there. But I was like, what? There's entire companies of Black women with PhDs, like doing cool things. Like they were government contracting, like they were working with DC communities. And that was like when I got my first real taste of consulting, really helping people use data to make data-driven decisions. So I worked for this company for 2 years through some of undergrad and through grad school. During that time period, I got to work on projects that helped the FDA. I got to work on contracts that helped the DC Trust, which was like trying to build a model to kind of like figure out at what point, what factors impact people like quitting school. Is it crime? Is it access to healthy food? And I was just like, I constantly thought to myself, like, how am I in this position? Like, am I trained to do this? Am I like, they trust me? Like, you're paying me to do this? Like, I'm still in school. But I always had a mentor who was like, we wouldn't be paying you if we didn't believe in you. So I did all of these great things, finally graduated like with my grad program. And I'm like, great, now I need a job. Didn't really want to like rush into a PhD program because I feel like most Black girls in STEM, like they always like try to convince you to go right into a PhD program. I thought about it. I applied to a biostats program, got in, but they wanted me to do another master's. And I was just like, I'm sorry. I just went through like the fire to get this master's. You want me to do another one before a PhD? So I was like, I'm going to pause this for a while. Let me get a little work experience to make sure this is really an avenue I want to pursue. And I'm very grateful I did. I got my first job at a trade association doing kind of market research. Didn't even know what market research was, but they said, hey, you have a statistics degree, you have an analytical mind, this is perfect for you. So I worked there for a couple of years and I kind of got the opportunity to lead a survey research program. Like I worked with my first client, helping them do a complete brand turnover where like we used our data insights to drive like how they would market this tool, like how they would get in new consumers. Like we were able to get down to like the specific niche market for them. And I was like, okay, this is kind of consulting. I'm using my analytical mind. I'm using data. This seems great. So moved back to Philly, started working again, still had a niche for kind of public health. So I tried to work at like a home healthcare company. Great research opportunity, access to health. Realized I didn't really love public health and like the medical sciences as much anymore. So I decided to move back to DC, found a job at a data technology company, and it has been the best career decision I've ever made in my life. Right now, I am responsible for over $4 million in data research for multiple Fortune 500 companies. I meet regularly with like C-suite folks like who rely on my data to make their decisions. Like I'm planning marketing events for 5 years out with these companies. And I just, every day I wake up and I'm like, how did I get here? This is not what the plan was, but I'm along for the ride. I do think in the future, I want to go back and get a PhD. I realized that I have a niche in survey methodology. It's something that's so interesting to me because while statistics is great, I love the theory. I really have a love for like the applicability of it and helping people understand that like the data you see in the newspapers, the data you see on the news, that's just not someone taking a quick poll. Like there's a science behind that. And I've really found that like I'm passionate about it and I want to make sure other people are passionate about it and love it as much as I do. So that's kind of like the short summary of where I started, where I am, where I hope.
Wow. Am I doing enough with my life? That's how I feel.
Listen, I'm listening to you talk and I'm like, I can literally talk to her for a couple more hours just on what you said in this 15 minutes.
You are the definition of what I think is a Black girl STEM girl, basically. You are like just the grit. I'm talking about your college experience, the have to do it, will do it, can do it attitude. Wow. I'm really impressed.
Honestly, I'm impressed by everybody on this call. Like just hearing like everyone else's trajectory, I'm like, oh my God, like it's nice knowing that you're not alone in this. Like you can be in engineering, you could be pre-med, or you could be a mathematician or a statistician, but it's like, it's crazy that all of our experiences are so similar.
I know. Listen, a common theme that I've heard so far throughout everybody's story is like mentorship, internships, and research opportunities, and like just being able to like advocate for yourself. I think,
and that support system, I think. I mean, it sounds like you've had a great support system.
It's honestly like, I feel like my support system was one or two women, and I was like, look, I need y'all help. You look like me. There's no other Black person in my department. Like I am alone here. Like my entire classes were just white and Asian men, a few women who like lifelong friends with, but I was like, there are no Black people here. There's especially no Black people with experiences like mine. Like I don't have parents who can pay my rent, who are paying tuition, who can afford to hire tutors. Like
that's a whole nother discussion in itself. We can talk for hours on just that privilege.
I love that you're in your life is an example of where education can take you. Like you were just saying, how you are interacting with people current day that you maybe would have never even been seeing in your, so I just think that for anybody that ends up seeing this for this interview, that they would just be like, I'm maybe not where I want to be, but I can be where I want to be in life and be telling people what to do, and not just even, taking orders from people.
Honestly,
or giving out the orders, not even taking orders.
Honestly, I feel like a lot of it is be flexible. Like I said, I grew up where I knew I was going to be either a dentist or a pediatrician, and I just somehow found this industry, fell in love with it. I mean, statistics is the sexy career, apparently. So it's just kind of cool to I fell here, and then I found a community of Black mentors who have continued to advocate for me. Again, a lot of them wanted me to go the PhD route, but I also understood where I am in life, where I want to go, the experiences, that's not what I need at this point in my career. And it's okay. And I think it's okay for us to not put time limits on when we accomplish things. I tell my friends all the time, I'm like, yes, I got my degrees out the way early, but that path is not for you. It was a lot of sacrifice. I missed out on so many college experiences, but I also knew I'm not trying to be broke forever. So let me just suck it up right now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's start with navigating. I think I definitely have picked up those skills just through my trajectory. While I'm a product of public school, I was always the only Black person in the honors classes or in AP classes. So at that point, you're just well, this is my reality. I'm just going to have to show them that I deserve to be at this table and I can compete with them. And I feel I've taken that mentality and carried it through my college years, and especially work. I feel every time I have a new job, I'm you hired me for a reason. I'm here to prove to you that I'm here to do a job and to do it well. So honestly, fake it till you make it.
That's what I've learned the hard way. Yep. You're so right on that one.
I'm not super confident every day, but I'm well, you're not going to see me sweat it here. My day-to-day, it's a little weird. Every day is very different. Right now, I'm probably working on 9 different projects with different research goals. I'm working on an international tracker for a Fortune 500 company where we're tracking all of people's purchasing considerations and their usage of products and helping them figure out how to market to new people as people's purchasing habits have changed during the pandemic. So really helping companies figure out how do they change their model to adapt with the needs? People aren't spending money like they used to. Travel industries are dying. People can't afford to go to Whole Foods and Trader Joe's right now. So it's really helping them meet people where they are. But yeah, every day I have my client work, but I also mentor people. When I started my job, I'm there are not a lot of people that look like me here. What can I do to change this? Because the way data works is if you only have a singular type of person out there producing the data, you're going to have one perspective, and that's going to introduce biasness into it. So I'm you need a diverse work field to have effective data so people can use that data. So right now, I am mentoring all of our new hirings. I'm teaching statistics boot camps at our job because the thing about market research is people come from all industries. There are people with econ degrees, statistics degrees, communications degrees. But if you don't have a sound foundation of basic statistical analysis and critical thinking skills, you're not going to be able to help people use data. So I found that was an issue, and I'm all right, let me use my stats background to help people. Do well in school, try your hardest. No one's gonna be a straight A student. I fell off being a straight A student a long time ago. But learn how to advocate for yourself. I feel that is the number one skill that has gotten me to where I am. I've seen it echoed in these other interviews. Know how to advocate for yourself and know how to communicate. If you can explain things to people not in your field, even if it's a basic math problem in like your calculus class, if you can explain that math to someone who's never taken calculus, that is a skill that will make you so valuable. Especially in the sciences, I feel like oftentimes people are just like, whoa, this seems hard. This is outside of my element. But it's like, if you can make it simple, if you can make it digestible, you will be the greatest asset to a company or your own organization.
I love your story. I just want to say that again, like reiterate that. What I've written down so far that's really powerful is just the importance of knowing how to pivot and keep an open mind. I think that's something that's not emphasized enough. Or at least I don't feel like it was emphasized when I was coming through school. And then the importance of confidence. The importance of confidence, especially when we are the minority. We're already the minority, but especially in STEM fields. Like the importance of having that confidence is so key.
Whew, I feel like that's a loaded question. Considering I don't think I'm a super confident person. Like
you seem so confident.
I have terrible anxiety. Like every time I do a presentation, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to fail. This is going to go terribly.
Literally.
But honestly, like I talk to people about it. Like I'm very transparent about like not feeling confident. I talk to my bosses regularly. I talk to my mentors. Like even when I was younger, I felt comfortable going to a teacher and being like, I feel like I don't know what I'm doing here. What can you do to help me? But I also think I'm very lucky. I did not mention, but most of my math teachers growing up happened to be Black, like by coincidence. So maybe it's like I felt comfortable letting them know that like I'm struggling. What can you do to get me back on track? And I think through like advocating for myself and just feeling comfortable talking to people, I've slowly built up that confidence. And at this point in my career, like now that I'm in front of like those $1 million decision makers, like you have to be confident. Like they're spending money for your like experience, for your expertise. So like you can't go into a meeting saying, well, I don't know.
So getting an early start on being able to, when you need help, asking for help. That'll only,
There's so many people out there who are willing to help you. Like, and if there's no one in your school, reach out to people in the community. Like there are universities all over. Like find a professor who has a background or is from the same city as you. Like find a program. Just find people who are there to help you. Like it's a lot of legwork, but believe me, it will pay off. I feel like it has been a testament to my career and a bunch of the other women on this call.
For sure. Do you have any other questions, Crystal?
No, I'm just kind of in awe right now. I just not even just on a view of like every person that we've had on so far. I'm just like, there's so many things I want to incorporate into my present day life, skills. Because the world is, we have so much potential no matter what age you are, and there's just so much to learn still. And I don't know, being the best that you can be in your career field as for yourself is doable, obviously. So not really.
I hope the people watching and the people that will see this will see you and know that Black female statisticians
exist.
Statisticians are out here, believe me.
Y'all are out here. Honestly, you're the first one that I've met. Actually, no, my best friend, she's actually getting her master's degree in biostatistics. So
it's beautiful. Like, and the thing is, we do other things besides like working in a lab or academia. Like the skills that you learn in this field are applicable across so many different industries. So if you find that, hey, academia is not for me, everybody needs someone who can think analytically.
I actually didn't know when you mentioned that you worked for a Black consulting firm, a completely Black. I had no idea that was even possible. I didn't even know that.
I feel like maybe DC is just so unique, but like these are two women PhDs. They met during their doctoral program and were like, we have experience. We're going to start a consulting firm.
Wow. I want to research and see how many other like places are like that, because I have never heard of that before.
After this call, I'm more than happy to put you in touch. Like I've met so many great women and men in this field who are just like, we want to help. Like we are trying to make our presence known and expand our footprint. So
there you go, people. Research.
Like, we need more of that, honestly. I think it's so important.
No, and what you guys are doing here, like, I wanted to email y'all afterwards. I'm like, I would love to like hop on board, help y'all out where I can. Like,
listen,
share this.
We're open to it. The more the merrier.
Seriously.
I actually shared this with a couple of like different organizations that I'm like kind of dabbling in. And I was like, a lot of women were like, wait, I'm a Black woman in STEM. What can I do to help their org? So like, let's touch base offline because there is a community that is ready to put in the work.
Wow.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Thank you so much, Alexis, for joining us. Man, this has been really great.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
All right, let's give her a hand. She was amazing.
That was great.
Thank you so much. All right. So yeah, there aren't any questions. Thank you so much, Alexis. I appreciate it.